Welcome to the Eagle Valley Model Railroad. In the next few videos, we're going to go through the process of adding an addition to the layout. This addition will be a rail yard that will be mainly used for storage and display of rolling stock and engines, but it will have a turntable so we can run trains on the main layout in either direction. We'll also utilize this yard to do local switching, plus running through trains on the main layout. This first video, we're going to discuss building the table-style bench work. Step 1 is to remove the fascia from the existing layout. This is being held together by 3/4 inch screws and shoulder washers. We also put a foam adhesive to this when we put it on originally, and there's one screw at the very end that needs to be pulled out right there. The tool I used was a hacksaw blade with electrical tape on it, and probably one of the most utilized tools in the toolbox. We're going to continue on with the process and remove the fascia from the mounting section. Just encourage you, when you're taking apart some of your layout, just be careful so as not to damage any of the scenery that you've already done. Even though we've built this stuff, the less you have to repair, the better off you'll be. Take your time and be easy, and things will come off relatively smooth. The next step is actually building the bench work, and what I'm doing here is marking a 3/4 inch reference line, so I'll have somewhere to know to drill my pilot holes, and that's for my screws. These screws will split the end of this 1x4 if those pilot holes are not drilled beforehand. Just get things lined up as good as you can and screw it together. Get the other side done, and again just line things up and screw it together. You'll notice in this scene when we're putting these boards together that they're warped pretty good. These boards were bought about 3 months ago with the intention of building the table at that time, and they've sat in the garage on the concrete floor for a while, and that's how the way they dried. It's not going to be a huge deal. We're going to put in some center braces, plus we're going to put a plywood top on it, and it'll pull the warp right out of it. Get our center bracing ready, and we're going to do this on 24 inch centers, just marking those on both sides of our framework, and we'll do us a reference line down the front face. We know where to drill our pilot holes. These are 1.5 inch wood screws, and the pilot bit that I'm using is a 1/8 inch bit. It's just enough material removed to keep the wood from splitting, but leaves enough for these wood screws to bite. Now these center braces will take some of the warp out, but not all of it. We'll really get that out when we place the plywood on top. I wish I could work this fast in real life. Things would go a lot quicker. Alright, so we're going to get our plywood down. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to mark off our 24 inch boards and our 3/4 inch sections right here to give us a reference for our pilot holes. Grab us a straight edge and get to marking. Now I like to start off on one corner. You're going to see me doing a lot of swapping between the blade and the bit, but this will ensure that it gets the framework square to the plywood. So as long as you've cut your plywood square, it should pull your framework in if you've gotten it close. Plus you can see the more we put screws in this, it pulls that warp right out of it. So just work your way around to all 4 corners, making sure that the corners are flush to the ply. Drill your pilot hole and sink in a screw. Now I work my way around the edges, making sure that the edge of my boards are flush any bows in the board, you want to either pull out to the edge of the plywood or push into the edge of the plywood to get it flush. Now, once we work our way down those two sides and all four corners, we can kind of go through and things will be set where they are. We can drill us some more pilot holes and throw the screws to it. What I'm doing here is ensuring that the heads of my screws are just below the surface of the ply. As far as the legs, we're going to get these legs and just set them in that corner as close as you can, and let the corner square it for you. We can make fine adjustments once we get things rolled around. And this is just a shot of both legs in place. We are going to put a side bracing in, but we're going to wait till we get the table turned over before we insert it. So just get your table in place, get you some clamps handy, slide it roughly in the area, and clamp it down. Now while you're under here, you make your fine adjustments and make sure you're going to have to do some under and above work here on the layout to make sure that that table sits exactly where you want it to. It's at the same height as the existing layout. And then pilot hole and screw and remove clamps as you go down along the way. You're going to measure up 18 inches on these legs. Put one screw in one side, throw a level on it, get the side bracing level, make sure everything's squared up, and drill it home. Moving up here to the top, if you look into the corner right here, as soon as this video decides to keep playing, there we go. We just did a triangle bracing for the corner, cut our plywood to match, pre-drilled some of the pilot holes, and just make sure everything's in place and lined up like we want it, and screw it home. This is a front view of the corner piece, and basically those blocks of wood are mounting points for when we place on the fascia. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and until next time, happy modeling.